Um, right, hello, Guy. Congratulations on the film. I very much like the film a lot. First things first, though, you are an Oscar winner. So let's get that out of the way. And then where do you keep your Oscar for your 2018 film Skins,
Well,
rather?
well, we just built an office here. My wife and I, we're building this office, which is going to be ready in basically a few days. So I guess there's in our new office there will be a place for it, where we actually work and write, and yeah, that's going to be there.
So to the film then, Golda. As I really like the film, and it's an
Thanks, uh,
astonishing performance by Dame Helen Mirren.
sure.
Can you tell me about the first meeting that you had with her and what any concerns or queries that she might have had about playing the role?
Well, I joined this project when Helen was already attached. It was kind of an Amazon project, and they met other directors, and I was it was kind of a open assignment for directors, and I really they told me that Helen's attached, and after I did the pitch, it was a massive war movie in the beginning, and it shrinked into something more intimate, portrait of a lady. And I knew that they want me to meet Helen in order for her to approve me and to know that we are on the same page. So it was in the middle of the pandemic, 2020, I think it was. And Helen came to my home, and very not official meeting, really like two people drinking coffee and talking, and we spoke for 3 hours, and she told me about her visit to Israel in 1967 when she was 29, and she fell in love with Israeli, and they had this kind of she was volunteering the kibbutz and picking tomatoes and milking the cows and really getting the Israeli experience in those days, and I was very impressed by that. And then she told me that she came back to Israel multiple times, and I really felt I'm talking to my mom, to someone who's a family member.
Yeah.
I obviously adore her work, and my one term for me to do that, and I told Helen that in our meeting, is to surround her with Israeli actors and to bring Israeli kind of a crew into this movie. So my production designer Arad Shawat, he designed the entire kitchen and the war room and the offices. He built this from scratch in London. So, surrounded Helen with Israelis and make her feel like we're doing an Israeli movie was very essential to me because it brought the authenticity back to the fact. Now we knew that we're doing a movie about a controversial leader, in a controversial time. And we knew that, but we also wanted to make her human, and to make her three-dimensional and not just a face on a 50 shekel bill. So that's where we were at, approaching it and making a more intimate portray look into her character in a specific time of her life. It wasn't a biopic that from birth to death, it was more of an insurgent, like kind of a very specific, accurate time of this woman.
So the thing that struck me and probably struck everyone who remembers Golda Meir is her prolific smoking. She's a chain smoker, which is shown in the film. I don't think Dame Helen is a smoker naturally. Tell me about how she coped with that and what it is that she's actually ends up having to smoke.
Well, it was herbal cigarettes, which is
Yeah,
not, it's not toxic at all, but having Golda smoking 50 packets a day, and not only her, everyone in the war room were smoking and
yeah,
killing themselves slowly. Um, we needed it. We needed this chain smoking
yeah.
situation. And Helen at some point told me, "Listen, I cannot inhale anymore because I'm coughing like crazy. Why don't I just hold this like that?" I said, "Fine, just hold the cigarette,"
Yeah.
and that was something she used, I think.
Now, the other aspect of it is, excuse me, is the prosthetic makeup, which is superb. And it's a quite time consuming process applying those prosthetics. Was that a concern for Helen? And also because it is so time consuming, that must eat into the shooting schedule quite dramatically.
It was, but giant kudos to Helen for getting up at 4 a.m., going to the makeup room at 4:30, spending 3 hours in the makeup room when we are having our beauty sleep in hotels, then going out to the scene, spending an entire day shooting because there's not even one scene that she's not in there, and then going home. When went home, it's 10 p.m. She spent another 2 hours to take those prosthetic off of her every single day. It's not easy, and
Mm.
I didn't hear any complaints about that. And she was like a trooper, but she's just a force of nature, this woman. And I it was such a delight working with her and seeing her. She was so professional, just doing that. But it took away from her time, her sleeping time, not our time.
Yeah. Now, the very end of the film, when it comes to the resolution of how that war was resolved, there's a card that comes up that's saying that she was internationally regarded as somewhat heroic. But as you said yourself, at home, a little bit of a different kettle of fish, a more controversial aspect to her premiership. So, when you were shooting in Israel, what sort of issues did that cause when they knew that what you were shooting over there?
Well, it's the controversial is attached to Golda's name since she resigned, since she was a prime minister. So it's like you have half of the people say she was the one to blame for the debacle, for the failure, and the other half say we were too severe with her. It's a misogynist approach to blame an older lady who's not even a Sabra, who came from the States, and it's the mistakes of others that she suffered on her name and became pariah in Israel. And I think there's now I'm getting so many reactions from especially women that tell me thank you for clearing her name, thank you for making justice with this woman that there's not even one park or square or school after her name, which is crazy when I think about it. There was such a big shame around her, and I'm so happy that I was able to do some justice with her.
So, finally, then, something a little bit more light-hearted. We always ask filmmakers and actors this, going right back to probably when you were a child. Can you remember the first film that you ever saw on the big screen, and what was it?
I love it. I love those questions. I can spend hours and hours with you on those questions. Yeah, my dad took me, I think it was E.T. that changed my life. And then after that, Amadeus. He took me to Amadeus in the big screen, and I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like, what was that? And then later on, my dad took me to much harder films like The Goodfellas and The Untouchables, and then I saw all those like video cassettes of Taxi Driver and Clockwork Orange and stuff that are really hardcore, but it shaped who I am. It shaped my cinematic life. So I grew up on cool cinema and not like superhero movies, more of like realistic, raw, and real cinema that shaped who I am today.
Because E.T. and Amadeus, they're quite different films.
I know, but look, E.T. was scary to me. I saw it at the age of 8. I was like, I was today. I'm showing it to my girls. It's such a beautiful cinema, such amazing cinema. And then later on, when you look at Color Purple and Empire of the Sun, right, and
Yeah,
Jaws, and all those movies that really were like the 70s and the 80s, that studios were making deep, profound movies.
yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, really.
Guy, thank you ever so much for your time. As I say, I very much enjoyed watching the film, and
Hey,
having seen Skins as well. I'm very much looking forward to your future films.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Guy. Thank you.
Bye bye.